In the back, everybody knows where it is. You'd put that in the storage area and you grab your new tank. Let's pretend this is our new tank, guys. First thing we check for is major damage. So they're always going to be scratched up, little dents, stuff like that. We're looking for structural damage. So if you see a dent like the size of a golf ball, a big gouge, a crack, something that makes you think this tank is no longer safe, you're going to flag it and tell a supervisor. This one's in actually really good shape. Next thing we check for is our Whmis labeling. So we've all had Whmis training. It says it's flammable and it's compressed gas. So it's got the proper Whmis label. That's good to go. Okay, guys? Next thing we're going to check for is the date. So it might present itself in a couple of ways. Let's see here. Perfect. So we're going to have both types of date on this tank. So this is a good one to use as an example. So when the tank first comes from the manufacturer, guys, the date's going to look like right here. It says 10, triangle, 11. You got a little arrowhead or Christmas tree type symbol in the middle. That tells you it's the original manufacturer's stamp. So this is the first 10-year stamp from when it was manufactured. In this case, it's really easy. We look at the month, we look at the year. So October 2011, that means it would have expired on October 31st, 2021. So if that was the only date on our tank, this would be expired. We wouldn't be able to use it. But sometimes you got to look around a little bit. And they usually highlight the most recent date with some sort of a paint stick or a marker, something to make it obvious. We got this red paint here. When the tank gets recertified, it's going to look a little bit different than that original manufacturer stamp. Instead of being number, triangle, number, it's going to be number, 3-digit code, number. What I mean by that is simple. So right here we got 03, so that's for March. Then we have BG0. That's their 3-digit code. It's always going to be 2 letters followed by 1 number. You guys don't care about that code. That tells the ministry who recertified this tank. So if it was Praxair down the road or whoever, they all have their own code. So if this tank something's wrong with it, they know who to follow up with, who's accountable. You guys only care about the date. So in this case, we go March, we skip over that 3-digit code, and we see 22. So that means this tank will now expire March 31st, 2032. Long time from now, 10 years down the road. They just did it, okay? So it was recertified last month, okay? So this tank's good. What you guys will also notice is, on the recerts, it always ends with a capital letter E. That just verifies they did the necessary testing on the tank. They pressure test it, they x-ray the welds, and they replace any of the valves if they're damaged. So if I were to read this date, I know that this tank is safe. It's ready to go. It's still got 10 more years until it expires. So just to review, guys, month, 3-digit code, year. All you care about is the month and the year. For a new tank, month, triangle, year. Same idea. All you care about is the month and the year. 10 years down the road, last day of the month. Everybody okay with that? It's not too hard, just some people get confused because this one's got more numbers, so it throws some people off. Okay, so we checked the condition, we checked our Whmis label, we checked our date. Now we have to make sure it has a collar, which it does. Sometimes people will modify these tanks and cut the collar off. Of course, none of you guys would do that. That makes the tank useless. We need the protective collar. Not only is it a handle that we can grab onto, but it protects the valves and fittings from getting damaged. Last thing we got to check, guys, is our pressure release valve. So you can identify the release valve because there's a special cutout in the handle that corresponds with the pressure release. That way the gas can easily escape when it's laid down on its side or mounted on the truck fit. Okay? What we need to check is that it has a cover or cap. So see this little rubber cover? That protects it from any dirt, dust, and other debris from industrial environments getting inside the valve and clogging it up. Guys, we know how dusty and dirty it gets in these environments. Over time, that will build up and clog the valve. So it's got to have a cover or cap. So this tank meets all of our requirements. It's in good shape. It's got its Whmis label, the proper date, the collar is on it, and we have a protective cover on our pressure relief valve. So this tank would be safe to reinstall onto the truck. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I just talked about? Anybody not sure or confused? Or do we all understand how to check the tank and what we're looking for? We're good? Okay, so now we'd be ready to remount this tank.